One of the biggest issues in UK estate agency in 2022 is the recruitment and retention of staff and colleagues. Today I'm joined by Iain White, estate agency guru, also owner of Crux Careers, so you've got feet in both camp. Iain, why is it so hard to recruit decent staff at the moment in 2022?
Oh, I think there's lots of multi-levels to that. On a very basic level, people aren't looking to move because they've got some sort of tenure which gives them security in the event of redundancy, etc. So people are holding tight because COVID and all the other things that are going on with Brexit and everything else are, whilst our industry is seeing a boom undoubtedly, we are seeing just an uncertainty about wanting to move. So people are sitting tight. So that's causing a bit of a shortage. In addition to that, if I'm honest, our estate agent is, if we were honest with ourselves as business owners and go back and imagine, right, you're 2021, 22, you're now thinking about what career to get into. You've got to work weekends. You've probably got to work slightly longer hours. You're going to get paid less money. Would you join a estate agency in the way that it's currently fashioned now, where everyone's fighting over instructions and charging 1%, 0.8%, and your commission of that might be 50 quid if you sell it? Would you honestly go into a estate agency? So structurally, we're not attractive.
You're based in the south of England in the home counties. What's the average opening salary for an egg?
Let's say an egg that was 19, 20, something like that. I would have said it's probably around about £18,000 per annum, maybe with a 20 to 22 OTE.
But the minimum salary, the minimum wage is not much further lower than that.
It is a little bit over the minimum wage, but it's so close to it. I mean, you can flip burgers for the same amount of money. If you work the right shifts, no pressure, you can flip burgers. You can go and sit on a till. So why would you do estate agency? Why would you choose it as a career?
But does anyone choose a estate agency, or do they just fall into it like most of us used to?
I chose it. I hope people choose it. I mean, a lot of people do fall into it. But whether you stay in it or not is going to be dictated by...
Okay, so why are wages so low?
I think partly because owners are understandably wanting to be cautious with budgets. But the reason they're needing to be cautious with budgets is because the transactional volumes although they've been steady for a period of time, we've had this COVID blip, they have, if you go back to yesteryear, they're lower than what they were.
Yes.
And secondly, the fees have been pushed down and down and down by this ridiculous mentality of let's win every single instruction no matter what. So if there's less coming in, agents are probably spending a little bit more. Rightmove's costing more money, Zoopla's costing more money. So the portals are taking out. It's a bit like agents in football. They're taking the money out of the industry and not putting it back in. And a lot of it does go out through those two businesses. Way bigger percentage than inflation. I think you'll be able to prove that actually. The rents go up. The amount of technology and property and suppliers and people that are in the space. Agents probably spend a little bit more to get their leads. It's a much more competitive industry now. There's more agents. You're competing with more agents for less transactions.
And I know in a previous video we've talked about how to get the fees up, so please do check my YouTube channel out for that. What about retention of keeping the staff? Because it's a damn sight easier to retain someone than actually find someone new.
Yeah, our mantra at Crux is that the first thing is avoid the vacancy. So the first thing should be to avoid the vacancy.
But then you're not making any money on that.
No, I know, but that's the right advice to a client. I mean, at the end of the day, I've always made more money by being straight. At the end of the day, vacancies will appear. And if you're honest, people will turn to you to fill the vacancy, if you're good at what you do in terms of finding the candidates. But the first strategy has to be avoid the vacancy. The second strategy has to be, if there is a vacancy, do I need to recruit, or can I use outsource or technology to solve the problem? And if the answer is I need to recruit, well then yes, of course, go and recruit. Yeah. But if you're going to recruit, bring that person into an environment that they're going to love, want to stay in, tell all their friends about how great it is, work with you, build their career, see their futures, grow with you.
But that comes down to values, culture and leadership.
Absolutely it does. Which are areas that are lacking in a lot of estate agencies.
So really, it really comes back down to the boss.
Yes, the boss, whether it be if it's in a corporate, it'll probably come down to the branch manager or the area manager, or maybe the ethos from upstairs. I mean, typically speaking, they won't thank me for saying this, but the turnover of staff in corporates is much higher because they have set structure ladders of what you can and can't earn. Whereas if you go and work for a great independent that's kicking arse and doing really, really well, they can be more entrepreneurial around how they do and don't reward you. But yes, leadership, systems, processes, rewards, training and developing of people, a clear path to promotion, an understanding of what you've got to do to get to the next piece, maybe an option to have ownership or some form of ownership will all be factors that both retain and attract the best talent. And of course, every business should be looking to attract and retain the best talent.
Because that's what it really comes down to, having great processes and the people to put them into practice.
Yes, I would put people before technology every time. If you've got a great person and give them a phone and a bit of database, they'll always trump the not so good person that might have all the shiny kit on the planet and the best looking office and everything else. But an individual working from a shed that's a genius and a really good proper estate agent with a bit of pride and a bit of oomph and a bit of fight in the belly will always trump the guy that's going through the motions.
And are there many of those out there in the industry, or are they unicorns? These.
They're certainly not unicorns. I'm not sure if I can name names, but yes, I mean there are, but they are, luckily for them, but unluckily for the industry, they are a very, very thin layer. They were until recently, I would say, a dying breed. But to be fair, I'm seeing some younger business owners who are starting to see the world differently, and they're coming in with their own flavour and their own ideas. So even the age of the owner is now starting to change the demographic, and I'm seeing some positivity there.
I mean, there are some fantastic people in the industry. I mean, one that jumps to mind who lives near you is Iain Macbeth. Obviously, his business partner Michael. But what they're doing at Avocado is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, they're a self-employed model, as you know. They are attracting the best talent around. They obviously have a good offering. We've done a bit of recruitment for them. I mean, they are. I think the thing that sets Iain apart from perhaps some of the other, possibly you could argue bigger, but I don't believe as successful self-employed offerings, is simply that he's got a very clear and clean process that helps you be what you need to be. So he understands marketing, he understands data, he understands social media, and he passes that information down to help these people generate leads. The others, not all the others, but most of the other self-employed models, certainly the first ones that came from other shores, I don't see what they actually do for the individual to grow the individual, but on a personal level. I do see what Avocado, and again, some of the other ones that are associated with existing brands but have got self-employed or employed models within them. That's where I would head. If I was a self-employed type person, I would head towards an established brand that gave me some value.
And would you advise any decent decent valuer lister, branch manager who works for an independent to ask their boss, would you consider going self-employed?
Yes, I think as long as the deal is correct for everybody, I think you need to make sure that the owners of the business more and more businesses now are modelling a self-employed option. Because if people reach that point in time where they're going to go self-employed or leave the industry, you should be, if they're the right talent, having a vehicle to retain them. You don't want to lose them to Avocado.
No.
You don't want to lose them to EXP, Keller Williams, whoever it is. You should have a vehicle that retains them.
You should almost, as a boss, be aware that your staff might go. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
If you don't do something about it.
Yeah, I think you should develop them to the point where they can. I think if you are a really good leader, you should be developing people to the point where they can, but then provide them a vehicle with which they don't need to.
Thank you for your time today.
No worries, thank you.